was, embarrassed. Now they're terrible. Another terrible emotion that I had to deal with. After that competition, I raced, I think, 4 races, and they went okay, and I was sad. I went to bed crying on the Sunday night, and I said, I'm never going to make it. This is so unfair. I have a disease, and I have to compete with people who don't have any problems at all, and, I started to compare myself, and just a really negative outlook. I wake up the next morning, and it's as if someone drew a line right down the middle of my body, because I woke up, and I was like, uh-oh. I have that same feeling. The entire left side of my body went completely numb on me. I couldn't really see out of my left eye. I couldn't even really taste things the same way out of the left side of my mouth. I looked like I went to the dentist because the left side of my mouth was a little bit frozen. So that lasted about 2 months, I would say. Not fun. But I'm glad it happened when it did, and I'm glad it didn't take me a year of that, all those negative emotions before I relapsed again. So when I say relapse, it means that I get these MS symptoms again. I have what you call relapsing remitting MS. So you go into relapse and you have all these negative symptoms like, numb legs or whatever it may be, or, losing bladder control, things like that. Basically, if there's a symptom you can think of, MS patients can experience them because the nervous system controls basically all your functions of your body. So anything can really go wrong. So relapsing remitting MS is what I have, and it's where I go into relapse and then I come out, and somehow the miracles of your body is able to, put you into remission and you're able to recover. Thankfully, I think because, I'm young and healthy and active, I'm able to recover quite well and stay recovered for, longer and longer. There are other MS patients that are less fortunate, and they go into that relapse, and where I was 5 years ago when I lost all feeling from my chest to my toes, that happened to them, but they never got back to this stage. They're now in a wheelchair right now, and they're not even able to walk. Some of them are barely even to talk properly. So I would say that I'm in a very lucky position, and that's sort of what I'm here to talk to you about, is that what has happened to me 5 years ago has actually, it's crazy my journey that it's come to over the past 5 years, and I actually look at my situation not as something that has brought me down and has, been so negative on me and just, was just all these barriers through life. I actually look at it as a huge opportunity, and I'll discuss that a little bit more, of all the cool things that I've experienced and the cool things that I've seeked and done. Probably that wouldn't have happened if I never had any of these health issues. So, when I woke up after my second relapse and I had the entire left side of my body, the reason why I was thankful that it happened 2 months after I recovered from my first one and not a year is because I would probably still be feeling all those negative emotions. But this time I woke up and I said, okay, I got these choices. I can take this route. I can be jealous of my competitors. I can be scared of my future, scared that maybe I won't recover from these relapses. I can be angry that I was chosen to have this disease. I can be frustrated that I can't, skate the way that I could before, and things didn't come easy anymore, and that I had to work extra hard for things. The list goes on and on of how that side of things can go, and you guys can just imagine. I feel uncomfortable even saying those words and talking about that choice. And thankfully, I have an unbelievable group of friends, and this is a lesson that you guys should definitely take back, is if you ever have a problem, surround yourself with good people. I don't know if you guys have ever bought, or your parents have bought a little thing of strawberries, and one of the strawberries goes bad. Do you ever notice that all the other strawberries around it start to rot as well? Well, the same thing happens with human emotions. And this has been scientifically proven. I'm not just making this up to sound good. But if I was a very negative person and I start talking negative to you, guess what? That smile is not going to be a smile anymore. You're going to be negative and down, and then you're going to be negative down, you and you and you, and soon enough this whole room is going to be a really negative thing. But then I chose I started to look at different routes that I could take. Thankfully, I have good mentors in my life, and I tried to. It's funny because when you have something going wrong, you often attract that same person. I felt like I knew about everyone's disease and their dog's disease and their cousin's disease and their second cousin's brother's disease, and everyone who had a health problem came to me to complain about it, and I'd be like, yeah, it sucks, it's horrible, I hate it, and guess what? I didn't feel any better after talking to them, because they're like, you should talk to this person, she has a disease, and I'm like, okay, so I'll go talk to that person. We'd whine and complain about having a disease and how it's stupid, but it's nice to relate to each other. And I started thinking about that, and I'm like, you know what? I feel awful. I feel terrible after talking to that person who's going through the same thing as me, and I was like, I think I have a real opportunity here, and I shouldn't give myself all the credit, because I have both my parents, I have coaches, I have other friends that really taught me and have been good examples for me to take a different route. Now I wrote the word leadership because I had a choice here. Now if I were to come to you and say, oh, you have a disease too, or you have a health problem, oh, you fell in that race as well, doesn't it suck falling in that race? I mean, what are we going to do now? I had now the option to say, hey, that's too bad that we fell in that race, but man, we got to get back out there and we need to try again. What do you think made you fall? Oh yeah, your hip was too far in and maybe your knee buckled or something, or you stepped in a puck. Oh, maybe you need to focus a little bit more. And I would change this negative experience and try and see what can we learn from this, because I believe that we have these signs in our lives that we need to listen to, and that they really do tell us something, and unless we do something about it, we're going to stay in this negative zone. So I chose the leadership route. Now another interesting example is I've since been studying nutrition, natural nutrition, because I said, okay, when I woke up, left side was numb. That lasted for about 2 months, and I was like, okay, I can't have that happen. Why did it happen? How was I feeling before that happened? I was crying. I was crying myself to sleep when I woke up with that. Like, obviously I was a negative mess. So I woke up and I said, okay, had the motivational talk from my parents and my friends and my mentors and coaches and all that. And I said, you know what, you can do this, Crystal. You got to be positive. You got to believe that you can do this. And let's think of ways to be proactive. What can we do instead of just sit here and feel sorry for ourselves to make you healthier, make you feel better, and give you that motivation to get back into training. So I started to wake up every single day and simply work, and it does take practice, to find my happiness again. Now I'm a very happy person in general, and it takes a lot to put me down, and I would definitely say that put me down a bit, and I practiced happiness. I practiced every single morning. I would wake up and I would Google inspirational quotes, and I would try and surround myself with other people that have had relationship problems and they're down, but yet they somehow bounce back up and they're positive, and you just meet someone and they're just vibrating so high and they're illuminated, and it's just inspiring to be around there. And I started attracting myself to those people and surrounding myself by that. And it reminds me of this study done by Dr. Emoto, I think his name was. I learned about this in school and I love it. So what he did is he studied the molecular structure of water. So what his example was is he took a glass of water and he put a bunch of labels on it. He put jealousy, fear, anger, embarrassment, frustration. What's another negative word? Throw one at me. Yeah. Mean. Terrible. And then he took another glass of water and he put a bunch of labels on it. And he put love, dream, believe, express yourself, be creative, leadership, happiness. He put all those positive words on it. Then he put a microscope. He put the water under a microscope. He studied the one that was full of negative words. He looks at it. He can't really figure out what's going on there. There's no rhyme or reason for anything. It's just a bunch of squiggly lines that don't connect, and it's just a big disarray. Then he puts the water from the glass with the positive words under the